She never thought a normal evening could turn into a nightmare. Her name was Laura, and she had been married to Kevin for 3 years. From the outside, their life looked calm and stable. They lived in a quiet suburban house, and Kevin worked long hours while Laura stayed home, trying to make the house feel warm and peaceful. But peace was only on the surface. Kevin's mother, Linda, lived with them. She was polite in front of others, always smiling, always saying the right words. But when no one was watching, her eyes were cold. Laura felt it from the first day. There was a quiet tension in the house, like air before a storm. Linda never shouted. She did not need to. Her silence was sharp enough. That evening started like any other. Laura was cleaning the kitchen, her mind heavy with small worries she never spoke about. She heard Linda moving upstairs. The sound of slow footsteps echoed down the hallway. Laura told herself not to overthink it. She often did that, trying to convince herself that everything was fine. Later, Laura walked toward the staircase to take a basket of laundry upstairs. The house was quiet, too quiet. As she placed her foot on the first step, she felt a strange sense of unease. Her heart beat a little faster, but she did not know why. Halfway up the stairs, everything changed. There was a sudden force from behind. Not a slip. Not a loss of balance. A push. Strong and unexpected. Laura did not even have time to scream. Her body moved forward, and then she was falling. The stairs felt endless as she tumbled down, her body hitting each step with pain she could not describe. When she landed at the bottom, the world went silent. Her ears rang. Her vision blurred. She tried to move, but pain shot through her leg and back. Tears filled her eyes before she could stop them. Fear wrapped around her chest like a tight rope. She heard footsteps again. This time they were calm, controlled. Linda appeared at the top of the stairs, looking down at her. For a brief moment, their eyes met. Laura searched her face for shock or worry, but she saw nothing. No panic. No fear. Only a strange stillness. Then Linda's expression changed. She rushed down, her voice suddenly soft. "Oh my God," she said. "What happened? Did you slip?" The words felt wrong. Laura tried to speak, but her throat was tight. Her body shook. All she could do was cry. Kevin came running from the living room after hearing the noise. His face turned pale when he saw Laura on the floor. He knelt beside her, asking again and again if she was okay. Laura wanted to tell him the truth. The words were right there. But when she looked at Linda standing behind him, watching quietly, fear stopped her. Linda spoke before Laura could. "She must have tripped," she said calmly. "These stairs can be dangerous." Kevin believed her. Laura saw it in his eyes. He nodded, holding Laura's hand, telling her everything would be okay. He did not ask questions. He did not doubt his mother. As Laura was taken to the hospital, the pain in her body was nothing compared to the pain in her heart. She felt confused, betrayed, and deeply alone. Lying on the hospital bed later that night, she replayed the moment over and over in her mind. The push. The silence. Linda's eyes. Everyone kept calling it an accident. But deep inside, Laura knew the truth. And that truth scared her more than the fall itself. Laura returned home a few days later, her body still sore and her heart even heavier. Her leg was wrapped, and every step reminded her of the fall. The house looked the same, but it no longer felt safe. The walls felt closer, the silence louder. Kevin tried to be caring. He brought her water, helped her sit, and told her to rest. He repeated the same words again and again, saying it was just an accident. Saying she must have lost balance. Laura listened, but each time he spoke, her chest tightened. She nodded, but inside, her thoughts were screaming. Linda was different now. In front of Kevin, she was gentle and worried. She asked Laura how she was feeling and cooked her favorite meals. But when Kevin left the room, Linda's face changed. Her eyes were cold again, watching, measuring. She spoke less, but her silence felt heavy, almost threatening. At night, Laura could not sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, she felt the push again. She heard her body hitting the stairs. She woke up shaking, her heart racing. She began to fear the staircase, avoiding it whenever she could. Even the sound of footsteps made her tense. Kevin noticed her fear but did not understand it. When Laura tried to explain, her words came out slowly and unsure. She told him she remembered something strange, something that did not feel like an accident. Kevin listened, but his face showed doubt. He reminded her of the shock, the pain, and how memories can be confusing after an injury. "You are overthinking," he said softly. "My mom would never hurt you." Those words hurt more than he knew. Laura began to question herself. She wondered if her mind was playing tricks on her. Maybe she had imagined the push. Maybe fear had changed her memory. But every time she stood near the stairs, her body reacted before her thoughts. Her hands trembled. Her breath grew short. One afternoon, Laura was alone in the house. The quiet felt thick. She sat in the living room, staring at the staircase. She forced herself to look at it, step by step. Memories started to rise again. Not as dreams, but as sharp flashes. The sound of breath behind her. The sudden force. The feeling of being thrown forward. Her heart pounded. She whispered to herself that she was not crazy. When Linda returned home, Laura felt the air change. Linda moved around the house as if nothing had happened. She did not ask how Laura was feeling that day. She did not meet her eyes. That distance felt louder than words. Later that evening, Laura noticed something small but strange. Linda stopped at the stairs and looked at the wall for a moment, as if checking something. Then she walked away. Laura felt a chill move through her body. That night, Laura made a quiet decision. She would not accuse anyone. She would not fight. But she would watch. She would listen. And she would trust the fear that refused to leave her. She did not know yet how the truth would come out. She only knew one thing. The fall was not over. It was only the beginning. Memories that would not stay buried. As days passed, Laura noticed changes in herself. She became quieter, more careful. Every sound made her alert. She listened closely to footsteps, doors, even breathing. Her body remembered what her mind was still trying to understand. Small moments began to return to her, not as clear memories, but as feelings. A tightness in her chest. A sudden fear for no clear reason. Whenever she stood near the stairs, her legs felt weak, as if warning her to stay back. One morning, Laura stood alone at the top of the staircase. Sunlight came through the window, falling softly on the steps. Everything looked normal. Safe. But her heart beat fast. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath. Then it came back. A shadow behind her. The sound of someone standing too close. The feeling of hands near her back. Her body leaned forward before she chose to move. It was not a slip. It was not a mistake. Laura opened her eyes, gasping. Her hands gripped the railing as tears filled her eyes. This time, she did not push the memory away. She let it stay. And the longer it stayed, the clearer it became. She remembered Linda's presence. The smell of her perfume. The quiet breathing behind her. There had been no words. No warning. Just force. Fear wrapped around Laura, but with it came something else. Anger. She spent the rest of the day watching Linda carefully. The way she moved. The way she avoided the stairs when Kevin was home. The way her eyes followed Laura when she thought no one noticed. In the afternoon, Kevin mentioned the security system during a casual conversation. He said it without thinking, talking about how it made him feel safe knowing the house was protected. Laura's heart skipped a beat. Security cameras. She tried to stay calm, but her thoughts raced. She remembered the small camera fixed near the staircase, installed months ago after a break-in in the neighborhood. She had forgotten about it completely. That night, Laura lay awake, staring at the ceiling. Hope and fear mixed inside her. What if the camera had seen nothing? What if the footage was gone? What if the truth hurt even more than the lie? She knew one thing for sure. The answers were close. Closer than she had ever been. And once she saw the truth, there would be no going back. Laura waited for the house to be empty. Her heart felt heavy all morning, beating fast for no clear reason. She smiled when Kevin spoke to her, and she stayed quiet when Linda moved around the house. Inside, fear and hope were fighting each other. When Kevin left for work, Laura watched his car disappear down the street. A short time later, Linda picked up her bag and said she was going out. Her voice sounded normal, but her eyes did not meet Laura's. The front door closed, and silence filled the house. Laura stood still for a moment, listening. No footsteps. No voices. Only her own breathing. She walked slowly toward the small room where the security system was kept. Every step felt heavy. Her hands were cold, and her mouth felt dry. She remembered the camera near the stairs, installed months ago. At the time, it felt unimportant. Now, it felt like everything. She turned on the screen. The light hurt her eyes at first. Her fingers shook as she searched for the date of the fall. Seconds felt like minutes. Her heart pounded so loudly she thought it might give her away. Finally, she pressed play. Laura watched herself appear on the screen, carrying a basket of laundry. She looked calm, unaware. Seeing herself like that made her chest ache. Then another figure entered the frame. Linda. Laura leaned closer to the screen, afraid to blink. The video showed Linda walking quietly behind her. She stopped for a second and looked around. Then, without warning, she placed both hands on Laura's back and pushed. It was clear. Slow. Undeniable. Laura covered her mouth as tears streamed down her face. She watched her body fall forward, disappear down the stairs. She heard no sound in the room, but in her head, everything came back at once. Her knees weakened, and she sat on the floor, shaking. The truth felt heavy, but it also felt clean. Sharp. Real. She was not wrong. She was not confused. Laura replayed the video once more, even though it hurt. She needed to be sure. The truth stayed the same. She saved the footage. Her hands no longer shook. Fear was still there, but it had changed. It was stronger now, mixed with courage. When the screen went dark, Laura sat quietly. She knew nothing would ever be the same again. The truth had been watching the whole time. Kevin came home that evening tired and distracted, unaware that the ground under his life was already cracking. Laura watched him quietly as he took off his jacket and talked about work. Every word he spoke felt far away to her, like she was listening from another room. Linda arrived later, her usual smile in place. She moved around the house as if nothing had happened. She avoided the stairs without noticing she was doing it. Laura saw everything now. Every small action felt louder than before. During dinner, Laura barely touched her food. Her hands rested in her lap, tight and still. Her heart beat fast, but her face stayed calm. She had practiced this moment in her mind many times. After the plates were cleared, Laura asked Kevin to sit with her in the living room. Her voice sounded steady, even though her chest burned. "I need to show you something," she said. Kevin looked confused but followed her. Linda stood nearby, listening, her body stiff. Laura turned on the screen and opened the video. As the footage played, the room fell silent. Kevin leaned forward, his face slowly changing. Confusion turned into shock. Then disbelief. He watched his mother step into the frame. He watched the push. He watched Laura fall. "That's not possible," he whispered, even as his eyes stayed locked on the screen. Linda spoke sharply. "This is being misunderstood." But the video did not change. Kevin looked at Laura, then back at his mother. His hands shook. The truth sat between them, heavy and clear. For the first time, Linda's mask slipped. Anger flashed across her face. She said nothing more. Laura stood up. Her legs felt weak, but her voice did not. "I was telling the truth," she said quietly. Kevin said nothing. His silence hurt, but it also meant something had broken. Something could not be fixed. That night, Laura packed a small bag. She did not argue. She did not explain again. She had already been heard. As she walked past the stairs one last time, she did not look down. She walked forward, carrying the truth with her. Laura stayed with a friend for the first few nights. The place was small and quiet, but it felt safe. She slept with the lights on at first, waking up often, listening to sounds that were not there. Healing did not come quickly, but it began. Kevin called her many times. Sometimes he apologized. Sometimes he was silent. Laura listened, but she did not rush back. She needed space to breathe, to think, to feel without fear. Love, she realized, was not supposed to make her doubt her own pain. Her body slowly grew stronger. The bruises faded, but the memory stayed. Instead of running from it, Laura faced it. She talked about the fall. She talked about the push. Each time she spoke, the weight on her chest felt a little lighter. She understood something important during those days. Staying quiet had almost broken her. Trusting silence had nearly cost her life. The truth had saved her, but choosing herself would keep her alive. Weeks later, Laura returned to the house one last time, only to collect her things. The stairs were there, unchanged. She paused for a moment, then walked past them without fear. They no longer controlled her. She did not know what the future would look like. There were legal steps ahead, and painful choices still waiting. But for the first time, her path felt like her own. As Laura closed the door behind her, she felt something new. Not anger. Not sadness. Freedom. Her story did not end with a fall. It began when she chose to stand.